Hello and welcome to another edition of Rarer Hot Wheels. Now that we've got the 48 Blackwalls out of the way, we'll have a look at the things that I found at the car boot sale from a couple of episodes ago. And it was not a good day, freezing cold morning, but there were some good finds because there weren't too many collectors around. And they're in this bag. There are some unusual things in there and some quite usual things in there, but there's a good variety. So let's get on and have a look at some Rarer Hot Wheels. Now in this bag there's a good mix of all sorts, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drag the camera a wee bit closer. There we go, and angle it up to me. There. Right, yeah, there's some good selection of stuff in this bag from all sorts of manufacturers. So let's delve in and see what we've got. And my little dog's in here, and I think she's getting ready to pinch something. Come here, Poppy. Poppy, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on then. Oh. Hello. Here she is. There you go, look. There. Say hello to Poppy. There we go. She'll probably cuddle up and curl up like a cat here. That was, she'll try and lick my face as we go, or eat the cars. So here we go. So the first out of the bag is this, and it's something called Ray. What's it called? New Ray, a brand I've never heard of, from 1999, and it's a 38 Alfa Romeo. Quite a cool looking car, although a little bit cheap in feel. Now we go to a brand so familiar to us. What is this? Hot Wheels. Yes. And we have this wonderful thing, Power Pistons. In orange. I've got these in all sorts of colours and all sorts of finishes. And Poppy is about to leave my lap. There we go. Yes, so we've got Power Pistons. And I'll tell you more about these when I stick them on the turntable. Well, at least I'll do my favourite of the bunch, my best of the bunch. And I'll tell you some more about those, if indeed I can find any information about them. Now we've got one here, no idea what brand it is, but quite a cool set of tampos on it. Kind of looks a bit like a Dodge Charger from the front, a Challenger from the side, or a Buick GSX or Chevelle. It's a bit of a mix of styles there. It looks like an AMX from the back, but it's one of these generic Chinese things, but it is actually quite cool. Now onto a Mustang. Unfortunately, the suspension has collapsed on this one. As you can see, the wheels have disappeared up inside, but I'm sure with a bit of prying and poking I can get those back out. But this is actually quite a nicely detailed little model. Again, I don't know what make it is. It seems to be a generic Chinese brand. But for the 91 onward Mustang, it's a good looking little car. Now onto our Hot Wheels again. And another Mustang. This one's looking a little bit jaded, and I'm wondering if this is a colour changer, because it's plastic with what appears. Let's have a look, stick my fingers on it, see if it changes colour. No, I don't know, I don't think so. Maybe not a colour changer, but there we go, we have a Ford Mustang from Hot Wheels. And we have this thing, don't know who made it, but it's not something I've seen before. It's quite a cool machine. It's a bit like a Porsche on the front. It's a bit like a Prius shape from the side, but it has been heavily roof chopped. And I have to say, no idea what make it is. Doesn't say. All I know, it's made in China and it's got a number PWB 0712 on it. But nonetheless, it's quite a cool little car. And then, talking of strange vehicles, there's this, which kind of to me looks like a Honda, but I don't think it's a Honda. And the company is, it's made by a company called Osgun A1. Now, well, that actually might be the model of the car. You can see a tiny little emblem on the front in the grille, but it's some kind of future vehicle, and I really like it, which is why I picked it up. Unusual. Don't know what it is. Now we go to Wonderful Films and the Aston Martin from Cars 2. Yes. Michael Caine in the metal. There he is. Rather nice car, and got all the hallmarks of a Aston Martin DB4, 5 and 6. I like it. Now over to, what was it, Yap Ming. There we got a Yap Ming Exxon gas tanker in remarkably good condition. I have no idea what year this is, but I have seen them on eBay for $5 to $7, or around about £5. And some of this old generic Chinese stuff is now starting to become quite collectible. Yap Ming and Welly and stuff like that, some of the older stuff, which were more or less throwaway toys at the time. But their new versions seem to be a lot better than they used to be. Now we go on to what looks to be a Corgi from the wheels, but it could also be a Welly, because some of the Wellies use wheels like this as well. Well, in fact, most of the Wellies use wheels like this, and some Corgis. Looks like Kojak's car. Don't know what make or model it is, but it looks like, but obviously it's not Kojak's car. There's no light on the top, and it's not a Corgi. But nonetheless, it's quite a cool little car. Yes, a nice little 70s Americana. And we go for 90s Americana with Hot Wheels, 3-spoked wheels, Dodge Viper, and tiny little Hot Wheels logo on the windshield in lime green. Quite a nice little car. Quite heavy as well, despite the fact it's got a plastic base. There we go into something. We get a real car. Yes, we've got. Let's see if I can find the name, the make, the model. No, because it's all far too small for my aging eyes. But Hot Wheels there. 19. Oh, well, actually, it's a 57 Chevy. There we go. That's easy enough to tell. Look at the front. That tells you everything you need to know. But it's like a Edelbrock stock car come drag car, and that is a really nice little find. I don't know if it was a mainline, but if this one ends up on the turntable among my picture bunch, I'll tell you more about it. We do know it's got 283 horsepower. And Poppy is starting to make some noise. Poppy, be quiet. Right, I'll go over to Matchbox with this. This is from the 80s, I do believe. Sort of a stock car racer. Really cool car. What's it called? It's called a modified racer. There, yeah, that's it. Yeah, the modified, which is a class of American dirt track racers on short ovals, which were sort of narrowed and shortened sedan and coupe body shells. But this is a reasonably nice example. A couple of chips, but a cool car. Staying with Matchbox, we got this, which is a Super GT version of one of the cars that came out back in the early 70s. And in the early 70s, this one was a Roll-O-Matic, where the little fan you see in there was a separate part driven by gears off the back wheels. So as you pushed it along, the fan rotated. But in the 80s, they brought back a lot of the castings with slightly more modern wheels, no interiors, hence they fitted opaque black windshields in them. But it's still a nice car and in nice condition. I'll delve in a bit more through the bag. What have we got here? We've got Hot Wheels, a little racing car, little open wheeler, the 1950s style Ferrari 155, which I'm guessing is a 50s or 60s Formula 1 car. And it's a really nice little machine. Kind of reminds me of a belly tank Lakester. But yes, tidy little Hot Wheels, a tiny little car. Now we go over to Welly, with what looks to be Welly's equivalent of the Hot Wheels Larry Woods Wrecker. And it's a cool little car. It's a police service. Dial 911. In an emergency, if you break down, ring the police and they'll send this wrecker out to get you. I get no idea of the age of this thing, but I quite like this. And again, Welly stuff is becoming collectible. And, oh, I was going to say the final one, but there's some tucked away in here. Another three, to be precise. There we go. Right, let's go with this one here. We have actually a Corgi selling a Loctite delivery. It's better on that side. There we go, Loctite. and that is what looks to be a Renault Prima van. And I remember driving one of these for Will when I was in the Air Force many years ago, back in the 90s, and this thing came out and it had a 1.7 litre unturbocharged diesel in it, and you could put your foot flat to the floor and it would eventually start accelerating. It would eventually get to about 70 miles an hour and then it would completely run out of steam. And it had, yeah, I would say a food mixer probably has got more power than one of these, but Corgi Loctite van. And then we got this Hot Wheels with a springy wheel thing underneath it, and I'm guessing this was probably a McDonald's toy or something like that, but I can't see underneath. Hang on, let's have a look. It says no, 2000 Mattel, so it's about 20 years old. I can't read the writing on the bottom, but appears to have a switch which seems to control that. Oh, there we go. There we can see there's a switch. See the wheel sticking out? Pop it up. Then there's a switch there. Flick it one way or the other, and it comes down to the car does a wheelie. There we go. But an unusual machine. I'll try and find some more out about it. And yeah. And finally, for this bag, another Hot Wheels. And this one, can't remember what it is. I actually looked this up when I got it. It's obviously a bit like Circle Tracker, like a stock car. And it's got what appears to be a roll cage in there, and yeah, it's actually quite cool. But I can't remember what it is. Quite neat though, isn't it? Again, this dates from around, don't know when that dates from because it doesn't actually say. Oh, it does. 1989, so that's when the casting began life. It doesn't mean it's from them, and I would say it's probably reasonably quite a bit later than that because of the 5-spoke wheels on it. But that is the last one. So here's the first one. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It looks like it's got a bit of Firebird in it, a bit of Chevelle, definitely got Pontiac rear lights, but no idea who made it. It's even got a hood mounted tack. Yeah, it's got certainly something of even a bit of Mopar in it. Not sure what though, but it attracted my eye and it's pretty cool. Could be re-wheeled as the little ones are a little bit too small inside those huge back arches. Now this second one is from a brand we all know and love. Yes, it's Hot Wheels and it's a 57 Chevy. This Tri-Chevy looks very smart and it's champagne gold with Edelbrock tampos. This 57 Chevy Bel Air was designed by Larry Wood and launched in 2004. This one is from 2010 and it was one of 3 variations. This, I am sure, is a Welly. Not as in the boot, but Chinese car manufacturer. This little yellow sedan reminds me an awful lot of Corgi. And I think a lot of the early Welly cars were modelled after similar Corgi items. I have no idea when this was produced, and the only identifying feature on the bottom is number 98372. This little recovery truck is definitely a Welly. 1, you can tell by the fact that it has similar wheels to the previous model, and 2, it says so underneath. It seems to be Welly's version of Hot Wheels Larry Wood's recovery truck. And they've done quite a good job of it too. I quite like this. As to what this little car is, I have no idea. It seems to have Mustang tail lights and a Porsche front end and a heavily roof chopped look that sort of kind of resembles a Prius. I know it's not, but it's bright yellow, it caught my eye, and it's got rather a nice set of wheels on it. But again, I have no idea what it is. And yes, this is the last one, and it turns out the Ozgun A1 is the type of car it is. It's a concept car, made by Chinese toy company Hongwell. I know that sounds rude, but it isn't. On the Tinterweb I can find no reference as to what an Ozgun A1 is, whether it's a real concept or a fantasy concept, and I believe it's the latter. So, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and come back soon when we're going to check over the mail call that came in a week or so ago from Jordan up there in Scotland, and it contains some absolute gems. So until then, see ya. Toodles.